Apple may have just shattered the limits of what the iPad can be. iPadOS 19 is not just an evolution, it's a transformation, a complete overhaul that redefines how we use the iPad in our day-to-day work, creativity, and productivity. For the longest time, users have praised the hardware, from the mind-blowing power of the M-series chips to the premium Apple Pencil experience and gorgeous mini LED and OLED displays. But something has always held it back: the software. Now, with iPadOS 19, Apple finally seems to be listening. And the result? A user experience that feels closer to macOS than ever before, but uniquely reimagined for the iPad's strengths. For years, the iPad was torn between being a consumption device and a productivity tool. You had all this horsepower under the hood, the same chips running MacBooks, but the software was stuck somewhere between iOS and an undercooked laptop OS. That's all changing. With iPadOS 19, we're entering a new era. This isn't a minor facelift or some incremental update with faster app launches and smoother transitions. It's a paradigm shift. Apple has clearly decided that the iPad deserves its own destiny. Something that isn't just iOS stretched out or macOS watered down, but a unique hybrid of both. And what we're getting could finally fulfill that long-standing promise of the iPad being your next computer. Let's begin with the foundation, the apps. One of the biggest criticisms of the iPad has been the lack of professional software that takes full advantage of its capabilities. Until now, most apps have felt like blown-up iPhone experiences or neutered versions of what you'd find on macOS. But that era is coming to an end. Apple is reportedly unlocking full-featured, native versions of heavy-duty software on the iPad. We're talking about Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Xcode, and even third-party monsters like Adobe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, AutoCAD, and more. These aren't ported or compromised. They're built to harness the full potential of Apple Silicon, optimized for touch, pencil, and keyboard/trackpad input. And that's not even the exciting part. These apps aren't just Mac clones. They're redesigned to match the iPad's workflow, with gesture-based controls, a more touch-friendly interface, and layouts that make multitasking not only possible but enjoyable. Multitasking, once a glaring weakness on the iPad, is getting a total revamp. Previous methods like split view and slide over felt more like clever hacks than truly useful features. You were limited in how you arranged windows, had little flexibility, and switching between tasks often meant disrupting your flow. That all changes with iPadOS 19's new dynamic windowing system. Now, users can open multiple apps, freely resize them, drag them across the screen, and even layer them. It's the kind of granular control that's been standard on desktops for decades, but adapted perfectly for a mobile-first device. Want to have a Notes app, a PDF, and a browser all open in the way you like to work? No problem. Your iPad becomes a personalized workstation. Speaking of personalization, the home screen and dashboard experience is getting a serious brain boost. Users can now pin windows, build custom dashboards with interactive widgets, set up folders that behave more like quick access menus, and launch automation through shortcut tiles. You can effectively create your own command center, tailored to your exact needs. The long-criticized Stage Manager is being reworked from scratch into something Apple's calling Stage Manager 2.0 internally. This isn't just a patch, it's a total rebuild. Expect smoother transitions, snap-to-grid app arrangement, smarter memory allocation, and even AI-based app grouping. If you often launch Notes and Safari together, your iPad will learn and start offering that combo automatically. It's workflow-driven design done right. For students, this is a dream machine. A single device for note-taking, research, papers, and content creation. For creatives, the Apple Pencil and full suite of desktop-class apps become a portable studio. For developers, Xcode on the go means you can code and deploy from anywhere. And for business users, the revamped multitasking and external display features mean you no longer need to carry a laptop and tablet. It's all in one. We've also heard whispers about improved power management, ensuring that all this performance doesn't come at the cost of battery life. The balance of power and efficiency is something Apple has mastered with their chips, and with the software now catching up, it could deliver an all-day computing experience even with heavy multitasking. What's important here is Apple's clear signal that the iPad isn't stuck between two product categories anymore. It's claiming its own space. This isn't an iPhone on steroids or a Mac that happens to have a touchscreen. It's a unique platform, and iPadOS 19 is building an identity for it. The ecosystem remains tight, too. With iCloud, Universal Control, AirDrop, and Handoff, everything just syncs. You can begin a sketch on your iPad, edit it on your Mac, and present it on your iPhone or Studio display. But for the first time, it feels like the iPad doesn't need to lean on other Apple devices to feel complete. It is the complete device. Of course, there are still questions. Will third-party developers update their apps to take advantage of the new capabilities? Will Apple allow more customization or still keep the garden walled? Will battery life be as strong with dual displays running and Pro apps open? Time will tell, but if Apple follows through on even half of these improvements, iPadOS 19 could be one of the most significant software updates in Apple history. Not just because of what it adds, but because of what it represents, a shift in how Apple sees the iPad and how it fits into the future of computing. So here's the question we're all asking. Is this the year you can finally ditch your laptop for good? Or at least, the year the iPad stops being the in-between device and becomes the device you rely on most? Whatever your answer, one thing is clear. Apple is no longer just talking about the iPad's potential. With iPadOS 19, they're finally delivering on it. Thanks for watching your channel name. Stay tuned for more deep dives, hands-on demos, and in-depth coverage of iPadOS 19, Apple Silicon, and everything Apple has planned for the future of mobile computing. The era of the iPad is no longer coming. It's already here.